Hello everybody, welcome to online class. In today's class, we'll discuss regarding the appointment of an auditor. Okay, see, appointment of auditor is divided into three parts, that is appointment of auditor in case of sole proprietorship, appointment of auditors in case of partnership, appointment of auditor in case of company. Okay, we'll understand how appointment of auditor will be done in case of different ownership, okay, under different laws. The first one is appointment of auditor in case of sole proprietorship. First, we'll understand what is sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship means what? Single owner. Okay, the business which is owned by the single owner is known as what? Sole proprietorship. So the appointment of auditor in case of sole trader is done by the owner of the business. Okay, then the auditor generally act as an accountant in case of sole trader or sole proprietorship, who also prepares what? Accounts, along with that checking their accuracy. So as he is appointed by an individual, he must get clear instructions from his client in writing as to what he is expected to do. Okay, so the owner has to give him in writing that what he has to do, at what time, when he has to act as an accountant and when he has to act as auditor. Okay, then and his work and its scope will depend upon the agreement with his client since the appointment of an auditor. Okay, see, in sole proprietorship, as business is owned by single owner, the owner is going to decide regarding the appointment of the auditor, regarding his work, and regarding the scope, means the limits of his work. Okay, and that will be depending on the agreement between the auditor as well as the sole proprietor or the owner of that particular sole proprietorship. Okay, and an auditor is not under any state light. That is, the rights and the duties will depend upon the agreement. So the rights and the duties of the auditor of sole proprietorship will depend upon the agreement between that sole trader as well as the auditor. So in case of sole proprietorship, auditor will be appointed by the owner itself, and most of the time accountant of that particular sole proprietorship will be appointed as the auditor, but his work, his duties, his rights and his scope of work will be depending upon the agreement between the sole trader and the auditor. Okay, next comes is appointment of auditors in case of partnership. Partnership means business will be formed with the consent of different partners, right? As there will be two or more partners in the partnership, appointment of the auditors will be fixed by the consent of all the partners, with the opinion or the suggestion of the all the partners. Mutually they come together, the partners come together and they decide who should be the auditor of their partnership firm. Okay, next comes is appointment of companies auditor, that is appointment of auditor in case of company. This is a complicated one, the company, that is appointment of auditor in case of company, because the company itself is a complicated one. As I have told you, the joint stock company is what? When a single owner cannot contribute for the big company, for the big business, he will go for what? Issuing the or you can say he will go for raising the capital from the public, and these investors who invest in the company will be treated as the shareholders and they will be treated as the owner of the company, right? So in this case, in this case of company, how the auditor's appointment will be done, that will understand. For this purpose, the provisions regarding appointment of an auditor are contained in section 139 of Companies Act 2013. These provisions will discuss one by one, or will discuss the procedure of the appointment of auditor in case of company one by one. Okay, now this appointment of auditor in case of company is divided into 4 types. That is, the appointment will be done by the 4 members. Okay, that is, the first one is appointment by directors. We'll understand these one by one later. First we'll understand who can appoint an auditor in case of company. The first is appointment by the directors, then appointment by the shareholders, then appointment by the central government, then appointment by the controller and audit general. First we'll explain you in brief, then we'll understand one by one. Okay, see, in case of company, auditor will be appointed by the director. If the director fails, then the shareholders, that is the owners of the company, will appoint the auditor. If shareholders and directors both fails, then they should inform it to the central government, and central government will appoint an auditor for the auditing of that particular company. Then we'll understand how these government offices auditing will be done. Okay, so the government offices auditing will be done by the auditor, who will be appointed by the controller and the auditor general, who will look after the management of those government departments and the offices. Okay, so this is how the appointment of the auditor in case of company will be done. This we'll understand in a detail. Okay, the first one is appointment by director. See, appointment of director will be done in 2 cases. One is first auditor. First auditor means what? The board of director shall appoint the first auditor or auditors of the company within 1 month of the date of registration of the company. That is, when company registered its name in the registration of the company, from that date, within 1 month, they have to appoint an auditor, and that auditor will be known as first auditor. When the company commences, from that date, within 1 month, they have to appoint auditor. That auditor will be known as first auditor. Okay, so the board of director should appoint the first auditor of a company within 1 month of the date of registration of the company by a valid resolution. Then the auditor so appointed, so such auditor, the first auditor appointed, should hold office till the conclusion of first annual general meeting. Then till what date he will be working as a first auditor? That is, he can work as an auditor of the company till the conclusion of first annual general meeting. Till the completion of first annual general meeting, he can act as an first auditor. Okay, then comes this casual vacancy. That is, the directors have been empowered to fill any casual vacancy in the office of an auditor, except which is caused by prior resignation of an auditor. That is, the auditors, okay, once the first auditor work is done, okay, his work is what? From the date of resignation till the conclusion or the completion of the first annual general meeting. Then from that conclusion of first annual general meeting, the vacancy arises in the company for an auditor, right? That will be known as casual vacancy. So how this auditor appointment will be done? The directors have been empowered, or the director will be having the power to fill any casual vacancy in the office of the auditor, except one, which is caused by prior resignation of an auditor. If the prior resignation have been given by the auditor, then he will not be having the power. So any auditor appointed in a casual vacancy shall hold office until the conclusion of next annual general meeting. So this casual vacancy auditor will be having a period from the appointment of his job till the next annual general meeting. that doesn't mean that first auditor will not, means he shall not continue. He can continue as a casual vacancy, but once he will be appointed, when the registration takes place, he will consider as first auditor. If he will continue even after the conclusion of the first annual general meeting, then he will be considered as casual vacancy. And this casual, if he do not want to continue as a casual vacancy auditor, then the casual vacancy auditor's appointment will be done by the directors, and he will remain as casual vacancy auditor till the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. Okay. Next comes is appointment by shareholders. That is, in case if directors fails to appoint an auditor, then shareholders will appoint the auditors. Again, the shareholders will appoint the first auditor, because as the director is failed, any one of the members should appoint the auditor once the registration of the company is done, right? So if the director fails, shareholders should make appointment of the first auditor. So in case of directors fails to appoint the first auditors, shareholders shall do so at a general meeting by passing a resolution. Okay. Next comes is subsequent auditors. Now subsequent auditors, who are the subsequent auditors? Subsequent auditors are auditors who shall hold office from the conclusion of its 6th annual general meeting. Okay, until then either the first auditor will continue or the casual vacancy auditor will continue till the 6th annual general meeting. So the officer or the auditor who is appointed from the conclusion of its 6th annual general meeting will be known as what? Subsequent auditor. And these subsequent auditors are appointed by passing the resolutions or the notices. Okay, these resolutions are divided into two types. One is by ordinary resolution, another one is by special resolution. First one is by ordinary resolution. Okay, we'll understand this. Okay, first point is appointed at each general meeting by passing a resolution. That is, as per provisions of section 224 subsection 1, subsequent auditors are to be appointed at each annual general meeting by the shareholders by passing a resolution, ordinary resolution. Okay, the auditor so appointed shall hold the office from the conclusion of that meeting until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. Okay, next comes is by special resolution, where not less than 25% of subscribed share capital held by a public financial institution or government or central government or state government. See, in case of certain companies, the auditors are to be appointed only with the approval of the company by a special resolution. In some cases, some companies' auditors will be appointed with the approval of the company, with the approval of all the members of the company by passing a special resolution. So section 224 subsection A lays down that in case of a company in which not less than 25% of the subscribed share capital is held, whether singly or in any combination by, so section 224 of subsection, what it says is, in case of company, when that special resolution will be passed, see, as I have told you, some companies, okay, some companies' auditors are appointed only with the approval of the company. For that purpose, they have to pass what? Special resolution. Then in what case that special resolution should be passed? Where not less than 25% of subscribed share capital held by any of the single or the combination of the following. Okay, the company where not less than 25% of subscribed share capital held by either public financial institution, government company, central government, state government, or any financial or other institutions established by any provisional or state act in which a state government holds not less than 51% of the subscribed share capital, or a nationalized banks or a general insurance company. Okay, so these are the some of the cases when these special resolutions will be passed. Okay, so in case of appointment of subsequent auditors, the company must inform the auditor within 7 days of appointment. That is, in case of subsequent auditors appointment, the company have to inform auditor within 7 days of appointment. Once they decide that they are going to appoint the auditor, they have to appoint within 7 days. And once the auditor gets the information that he is appointed as the auditor of the company, he has to inform to the registrar in writing whether he has accepted or rejected it. Okay. Next comes as casual vacancy in case of shareholders. If a casual vacancy in the office of an auditor arises by his resignation, if he resigns, by his resignation, if the vacancy arises, such vacancy should only be filled by the company in a general meeting. See, if a casual vacancy in the office arises by his resignation, if the vacancy of auditor arises by the resignation given by the auditor, such vacancy should be filled by the company in general meeting. Then the company shall within 7 days give information to the auditor so appointed. The auditor shall inform in writing to the registrar of the companies within 30 days of his appointment. So in case of a casual vacancy arises because of any other reason other than what? Resignation. Okay, then BOD, that is board of director of the company, has power to appoint the auditor. Then what can be the other reasons? It can be the death, it can be the retirement of the auditor. Okay, so in such cases, board of directors has the power to appoint, and when they appoint such auditor, they have to inform within 7 days, and auditor should inform in writing to the registrar of the company within the 30 days of his appointment. Okay, next comes is appointment by central government. That is, if a company, if shareholders fails to appoint or reappoint an auditor, then the central government may appoint a person to fill the vacancy. If a company at annual general meeting fails to appoint or reappoint an auditor, the central government may appoint a person to fill the vacancy under the power conferred upon it by section 224 and subsection 3. So, see, if the company shareholders fails, if the director fails, the power goes to the shareholders. He has to appoint the auditor. If the shareholders fails, it goes to the central government. Okay, so the company has to give notice of the above fact to the government within 7 days of the annual general meeting. If the shareholders and the board of directors fails to appoint the auditor, then the company has to inform to the central government within the 7 days of the annual general meeting. The appointment by the central government is made from the panel of names suggested by the applicant company, and the appointment of the auditor will be done by the panel of names which the company suggests the names of the candidates of the auditors. When it gives the list of those auditor which it has planned to appoint, from that panel, from that list only, the central government will appoint the auditor. So the said company has to give notice of the above fact to the government. If the company fails to give such notice within 7 days, as I have told you, the company has to inform to the central government within the 7 days of the annual general meeting. If the company fails to inform, then the company and every officer of the company who is in default shall be punishable with a fine, which may extend up to 5,000 rupees. Okay, then the appointment by the central government is made from the panel of names suggested by the applicant company. As I have told you, whatever the list of auditors or the candidates who have applied for the auditors From that list only the central government will appoint the auditor. It may be noted that if appointment of a person as an auditor is wide, it should not be treated as a casual vacancy. If appointment is not been done, then it should not be treated as a casual vacancy. Rather, this would give rise to power to the central government to appoint the auditor. Okay. Then goes to appointment by the controller and auditor general. This should be spelled as controller, not as comptroller. It is controller. It will be written as comptroller, but it should be pronounced as the controller. Okay, so the appointment in case of government companies, the appointment of the auditor will be done by the central government on the advice of the controller and the audit general of India. This controller and audit general is the main personnel of the management of the government departments and the government offices of the accounts and audit department. Okay, and with his advice, the central government will appoint the auditor for the government companies. Okay, so this is what regarding the appointment of the auditors. The next topic, that is reappointment of the auditor, will discuss in the next class. Thank you.